Morning, afternoon, evening people. So in the kitchen today, baking bread. So what we're baking today is a basic, straightforward farmhouse loaf. So for this recipe then, what you're going to need: 500 grams of strong white bread flour, 6 to 8 grams of sugar, 8 to 10 grams of yeast, 15 grams of butter, 8 grams of salt and 310 ml of tepid water. First thing we're going to do then, spoonful of sugar in with the water, fire in our yeast, give that a mix, leave that yeast to rehydrate and activate. If you've been watching my baking videos, you'll notice that a lot of the time I use a stand mixer. I'm not using a stand mixer today. I'm going to demonstrate kneading bread by hand in this video. So in with that flour then, we're going to fire our butter and our 8 grams of salt. Then just give that a rough mix together. Into there then, straight in about 310 ml of water containing our sugar and our yeast. And all we're going to do, take our wooden spoon handle, give that a rough mix together. Don't worry about the butter too much, that will get mixed throughout the dough when we come to kneading. So now we've got our dough mixture. All we're going to do is leave that on the side, stand for 5 to 10 minutes just to auto-release. We're rehydrating that flour and that yeast. Okay, that's an auto-release for about 5 minutes now. So what we're going to do is just lightly flour our work surface and just turn this dough out and any remaining dry flour. So, kneading by hand. If you're kneading your dough by hand, you're going to have to knead this for 10 minutes. First thing we're going to do is make sure that any dry ingredients gets mixed in with this dough. That can be a bit sticky at first, but the more you work with it, the less sticky it'll get and the easier it'll become to work with. Don't be afraid to fold while kneading. If you make bread regularly, it's well worth investing in a stand mixer, because this 10 minutes of kneading can be a bit tedious. And if you only make the odd loaf now and then, it's okay. If you're making 2 or 3 loaves a week, stand mixer is definitely a good investment. It does start to get a bit sticky. Don't be afraid to add a bit more flour to the work surface. However, bear in mind that any flour you add will soon be soaked up by the dough. With this dough kneading process, what we're doing is we're encouraging gluten formation. As you can see, the dough will get more and more stretchy. That is the gluten being formed. Okay, we're kneading that for roughly about 10 minutes. So you've got good gluten formation. I'm happy with that. So you've cleaned our bowl, lightly oiled it. What we're going to do, pop out the dough in the bowl, cover it with a tea towel, put that away now to proof for 1 hour. And then of course, don't forget to clean up your work surface, just like that. Okay, that bread's been proofing now for an hour. What we're going to do now is turn that dough out onto the work surface and knock it back. By knocking it back, all we're doing is getting all those gases out. And then what we're going to do is we'll go ahead and pre-shape this loaf. So all we're going to do is put it along the work surface using our bench scraper. Use the stickiness of that dough just to cause it attention. Just leave that to rest now for 5 minutes. In the meantime, while that dough's resting, I'm going to take our £2 loaf tin, take a little bit of butter or cooking oil and just grease the inside of it. Now I will drop a link down in the description of the equipment we're using: scoring knife, bench scraper, £2 loaf tin. So what I'm going to do now is go ahead and shape this loaf. What I like to do, you can see that good gluten formation on that dough there. Just get our dough laid out flat. What we're going to do then is just pull our corners into the middle. You can see that good gluten formation there. And then just roll our loaf. What we're going to do then, pop our loaf into the loaf tin, seam side down, cover that with a tea towel, leave that to proof now for 1 more hour. Now depending on the temperature of your kitchen, you can either leave your bread to proof on the side, it's the middle of summer, if you've got a warm kitchen. If not, you can pop it in the oven with just a light bulb on, or in my case, I'll be popping that in the airing cupboard for an hour. Now we're not using a Dutch oven baking our bread today, but we want to create a steam effect in the oven. If you're using a Dutch oven, you generally put the lid on the Dutch oven, you'll get a steam effect from the moisture in the bread inside that Dutch oven. Take the lid off for the last 10 minutes, let the bread crisp up. If you cook it directly in the oven, in professional kitchens, professional bakers, they actually inject the oven with steam. Obviously we can't do that in our kitchen. So our solution to that is we take another loaf tin or baking tray, bit of water in the bottom of that, pop that in the bottom of the oven, and for the last 10 minutes of baking, we just take that away. So we'll preheat the oven now to about 200 degrees, and we're going to put an amount of water in the bottom of the oven. So we'll leave the oven to preheat now for about 10 minutes. What we're going to do is pop our baking tray, hot water in the oven. Okay, so the oven's been preheating then with our boiled water in there for about 10 minutes. As you can see, the bread has risen nicely. So we're going to go ahead and score that now. So we'll take our scoring knife now, go ahead and score this bread. Quick spray water. This is going to help with the steaming effect to get us a nice crusty loaf. Okay, into the oven with our loaf. So the water there bubbling away. There's about 10 minutes to go. We'll take the water out. I forgot to mention, 25 to 30 minutes in the oven at 200 degrees. Like I say, there's about 10 minutes to go. We'll take the water out. So I'll bring you back in about 15 minutes. Okay, 10 minutes to go. Out with the water. Give the loaf a quick turn. Close the oven door again. Obviously, if you are opening the oven door for any reason, try and close it as quickly as possible. It took me a bit longer than I liked just then because I was trying to film at the same time. And there we have it, cooking time complete. What we'll do now is turn our bread out onto a wire rack. It's always best to cool your bread on a wire rack or you'll get a soggy bottom, and no one likes a soggy bottom, do they? There's nothing better than your own home baked loaf of bread. You can't buy a loaf like that in the shop, that's for sure. Okay, now it's cut into our loaf. Cut it straight in half, give you a good look inside. And hear how crispy that is. There you go. Beautiful crispy loaf on the outside, soft on the inside. So there we have it, on a straightforward, crusty farmhouse loaf from scratch. So if you enjoyed that video, give us a big thumbs up. If you want to see more cooking videos, hit subscribe. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.